You're listening to Gen XP. Let's play some games. Previously, on the shattered world of Voar, we joined Avaleth Silvergrin and Theric Wynn as they hiked deep into mist-shrouded hills in search of adventure. They discovered an ancient relic of the First Folk and plotted out landmarks that matched up with their mysterious map. Following a hunch to explore a river surrounded by canyon walls, they met the strange Madame Mabel and enjoyed tea and conversation. After being set right on their directions by the old woman in the woods, the pair found a cairn with the skeletal remains of a fallen stranger, as well as a cryptic message about the cold. Feeling as if their path had led to a dead end, they decided to camp for the night before heading back to the north. Disaster struck their camp, though, a flash flood that swept the pair off their feet and into the rushing water. Welcome back to the shattered world of Voar. All of a sudden, that 6-foot ledge that you were on, a wave comes sweeping over there, smashing into both of you. I'm going to need athletics checks from both of you. Gonna use inspiration? Okay, so you rolled, you got a what, and then you're gonna use inspiration. You got a 1?
Got a fumble.
Okay, so I'll take your inspiration. And you get to reroll and keep the new roll no matter what it is.
Can't get any worse.
That's true.
Not a whole lot better, but I'll take a 12.
Okay, so the water comes smashing into the two of you.
6.
It's 12 and a 6. Both of you are immediately swept off of the river as this flash flood catches you unaware and unguarded. You are slammed into the river and begin to tumble down. You both take... Let's see here. Avo, you take 2 points of bludgeoning damage as you're smacked against the side of the canyon wall. Theric, you take 1 point of bludgeoning damage. But you are both being carried actively down the river, slamming into boulders, and you know that staying in this is only going to lead to being smashed into everything that the water takes you to. You are in the center of this raging river. Theric, you have a easier way out than Avo does, but you still both have to escape at least the clutch of the water. So, as you begin to tumble down, it's going to get worse as it goes. So I'm going to set we're going to say, I think that you have 4 rounds to get out of this before it gets lethal. Alright, so as you were tumbling along in the dark...
How far can we see each other?
So Abo could probably see you. He has low light vision, but I believe as a fairy you have no true dark vision. Give me a perception check with disadvantage. So Theric, you're being tumbled along in this water, this black rush, slammed off of a canyon wall. There's dirt and debris and branches kind of clutching around you as you flail your arms about, trying to get your wings free of your cloak. You cast your gaze around, and it is just darkness. You don't know where Avo is, and you can't hear anything other than the rush of the water. So I will ask, since you asked to see what you could see, I'll ask the first thing is, what do you want to try to do to get out of this?
Fly out of the water. So
to fly out of the water, you still have to get your wings clear of the water. You need a moment where they're not waterlogged. Give me, I'll let you do another athletics check. Or acrobatics, whichever you feel would be better. I can see a case for either.
1 acrobatics.
Okay.
I'm going to try and tumble out of the water, go with it.
Right, there's lots of rocky outcroppings and boulders that you might be able to do something with. Go ahead and give me an acrobatics check.
12.
Okay, 12 is not quite enough. You try to scramble up one of the boulders, and then the rush of water just pulls your legs up from underneath you, dunks you in the water, and keeps you moving along. You take another 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
Can I see him?
You can make a perception check with a regular check.
No.
So
absolutely not.
you got dunked. You didn't. Neither of you expected to be swept off this ledge. It happened so quickly. You went under black water in darkness, and then when you came up, you don't know where your friend is. But you know that you are in not ice cold water, but you're in cold water being bounced along, cold dirty water being bounced along this ravine. How would you try to get out of this?
We're in a ravine.
Mm-hmm.
How high up are either of
The top of the ravine walls is probably about 70 feet above you, but you could grab a wall and try to climb out. You can try to catch onto something and climb out of the water. It's for the most part straight up and down.
Okay. Then I guess I'm going to try and get toward a wall to try and climb out.
That sounds like an athletics check. It's a combination of swimming and climbing.
11.
An 11, still not quite good enough. You guys are hitting those middle of the D20 here. So you're trying to swim, not necessarily against the current, but even trying to make your way to the edge of the ravine, and you feel like that just bounce and tumble. A large branch kind of pushes into you and pushes you further along than what you wanted to be. You take 2 points of bludgeoning damage. So as you are swept further down this ravine, this river, the flash flood that takes you further and further into the darkness, I'll circle back to you, Theric. You tried to find purchase on a wall, didn't quite make it. Are you maintaining that approach, trying to use your acrobatics to get out of this?
Yes, I'm going to try and break out.
Okay.
That's better than... I'm more nimble than I am strong.
Sure.
And just makes sense. So I'm going to try and again, push off a rock to pull myself up a rock.
Sure.
Quickly as time it as I'm heading towards the rock to use the water to give me momentum to pull myself out.
Sounds good. You gonna use your inspiration? Okay. What'd you roll by?
Should have used it on that damn survival check.
Rolled a 4? Okay.
For another 4.
Ooh. Traded a 4. The dice gods are not with us.
You guys are having a rough go.
I've had 2 fumbles.
At one point, I think your hand
3.
comes up. You see a branch sticking out, and you think, okay, this will be it. I'll use this to kind of like lever myself out. You grab the branch, and it just kind of rips out of the wall with you. 1 point of damage, bludgeoning damage. This is more, you were held underwater for a moment, but you managed to get back up and are still being carried along in the river.
Still looking for him while I'm still scanning.
Okay. Yep. I'll let you make another perception check. This one will be at disadvantage now, though, because you failed the first one.
I'm making a perception?
Perception check, yep.
16.
Okay. 16, you do spot Theric. That was with disadvantage?
Yep.
Okay, nice.
I rolled a 12 and a 16.
Theric is about 15 feet away from you. Not the wall on the left is closer to you. Theric is about 15 feet away from you, closer to the other side of the river. The river in this ravine is much narrower, but it is deeper.
Does he look like he's near getting out, or he looks like
he's struggling?
Okay. And he's how far away from me?
About 15 feet. You could.
I'm going to swim towards him.
Yep, that's an athletics check.
9.
A 9. You also are allowed to, if there's anything you want to say, he can't see you. If you want, it is loud, but you could yell as well if you wanted to. But you start to try to swim, and the current is just too strong.
Theric.
Give me a perception check, Theric.
I don't want to use my good roll on perception.
Would you rather roll an acrobatics first?
Does feel weird. Yeah, that's where you get your good one too. I rolled with disadvantage, and both of my dice were better than anything else I've rolled all night.
You took 2 points of bludgeoning trying to swim down.
21.
21. You hear him, and that does let you orient on where he's at. You can't quite see him, but you know where he's at. This is now the second round. I'm sorry. I had 4 rounds. You used 4. You did 3. This is round 2. So round 1 after this, and then lethality. As you're tumbling along,
This
already
is seeming
dead.
pretty
We
lethal
need
right
time.
now.
I'm saying like no one survives after this. I'm saying, okay, so as you are tumbling along, Theric, water.
Okay, I know where he is, but there's not much I can do.
Right.
I'm not a strong swimmer. If I can get out of the water, then I can actually try and find him and drop a rope or something.
Right.
So I still need to get out.
Okay. As you're tumbling through the water, trying to figure out how you're going to get out of this, as you are looking for a foothold, a handhold, something that'll let you just get clear of the water long enough for your wings to flap, to twitch once to get the water clear of them. You smell lemon and ginger, and you feel a warm spot in the middle of your stomach. And you can roll, you get a plus D4 on the roll, if you choose to use it right now.
I don't know how long it's going to last, so I'm going to use it.
Right. But you do feel some sense of
Here comes the one.
beneficial energy from that smell of lemon. And you shouldn't smell it right now.
I called it!
You rolled a 1 on the 20. You rolled a nat 1 and a 1 on the D4. That's impressive.
That's so ridiculous. Dun, dun, dun. This is where the adventure ends.
I just rolled another one!
Hey, I didn't buy your dice.
This is. We thought it was going to be a long-term
And
adventure.
another one!
Would you like some new dice?
That's 3 in a row!
That is insanity.
That's impressive. How many hit points you got left?
It's a secret.
Okay, you lose 1.
I'm still alive.
Did you yell anything out to him?
Yeah, I'll yell back. I hear ya! I hear you over there! I can't see ya!
Alright, can I still see him?
Yeah.
He's
And
not any
you
closer.
watched him have trouble, like he tried to grab something and he went under for about a good 30 seconds before he popped back up.
Alright,
Prime the dice.
That's a 4!
Hey, that's 4 times better than what you've been rolling. You trying to
I'm
swim
gonna
to him again?
for him.
Okay.
Toward him again.
Okay.
13.
13. I think that's the highest you've rolled so far, actually. 13 will let, because I think you guys have been hitting 11s. 13 will let you get to him. It's half your movement speed. You move 30.
Yes.
Yep, 13 you can get to him.
I-
That leaves you the 2 of you in the middle of the river, though.
Push him up.
You're going to try to lift him up while maintaining your own.
Yes. I'm putting more effort into trying to get him above the water.
So it's more important that Theric is above
Yes.
water than you.
Yes.
Okay. I'll give you an inspiration token for that. You can roll. And it's up to you if you want to use that inspiration right now.
Yep, I'm going to use it right now.
Okay.
This is straight ridiculous.
So-
You rolled 3 1s in a row. I just rolled.
So for our listeners,
This is
I just
the
want this to be
third-
clear that I was not intending on killing all of them or both of them tonight. This was not the plan. I can't control what they're rolling.
And if you didn't quite get that, he rolled another one.
Yeah. So
which is either my 3rd or my 4th natural one of the night.
I will say that you also feel that warmth in your stomach if you want to add a D4 to whatever you're about to roll.
Sure thing.
You no longer feel that in your stomach.
Oh, man.
You use that moment up.
He rolled a 2!
All right.
That's just with
I'm
the
gonna
3
ask
makes
you-
it a 5 plus my it
I'm
gives me an
gonna-
11.
I'm going to give you a choice, okay? Because what you were trying to do was lift Theric up and keep yourself up as much as possible. I'm gonna let you succeed. You'll get Theric out of the water, but you'll go under.
Okay.
Is that what you want to do?
Sure.
Okay. Theric, you're lifted free of the water for the first time. Your wings have a moment to snap and dry. Not dry out, but that's all they need is to be not waterlogged in order for you to fly. You take another point of bludgeoning damage, and you go underwater.
Okay.
You don't come back up. But he's touching you, Theric. He's holding you above the water.
Well, as soon as my wings break for the water, I just start flapping.
Okay. Yeah, you can fly immediately. Are you going to try to
Grab him.
grab
his
him
hand
and bring him somewhere?
and pull him
Okay.
to the...
So I don't think that you can lift that much, can you? Or what's your lift capacity?
Well, I'm pulling him.
I agree.
How did that get like that after the...
I don't know.
I'm pulling him, and my pull is 390.
Okay.
I mean, while I'm flying, I'm sure it's not that.
Right.
But he's in water.
Yep. I will let you make a... All you're trying to do is pull him in the water, but there is a current dragging against that. So I will let you make an athletics check to try to drag him where you want to go. Let's throw this out there too. If you get a 10, you get his head above water. Okay? If you get a 15, I'll let you drag him to one side. If you get a 20, I'll let you get him to a lip where he can actually climb out himself.
Right.
Okay?
Here comes the one.
I don't mean a nat 20, I mean an adjusted 20.
Well, that's 19
So
then.
10, 15, 20 is what you're looking for. Yes, 10, 15, 20.
So I'm just pulling him.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a 6.
So you didn't even get me
No.
head above water.
I'd also like to point out that earlier, Alan said that all my dice were bad.
Dude,
Bad
this is
juju.
like all our dice are bad.
On the upside,
Bad
Theric,
juju.
you're not taking damage now because you're out of the water. You're not being slammed around, but you are holding Abo's hand as he's being dragged down the river. Abo, it's back to you, and this is the 4th round you've been in there. This is the last round where I said before things were going to get real lethal, which you're probably already quite hurt.
I am. Trying to get to the edge.
Okay. Considering that Theric is
pulling.
holding you, I'll give you advantage on the athletics check because you have help.
And we're pulling towards the shore we didn't come from. We might as well get something.
Okay.
Worth it
That's
out
only
of
like
this.
15 feet away.
18.
Okay. For the first time in what feels like forever, you don't know how long you've been in the water. You've been getting slammed and pushed and dragged along the bottom, scraped across the edges of the ravine, but using a little bit of help as, for a moment, Abo, you actually pull your hand out, but Theric, you just switch to a grip on his armor, and the two of you make your way to the far wall, and I'm going to say you climb at least waist high out of the water so you're not in danger anymore of being slammed. You're still in this canyon, which goes up about 60 feet above you, but you have gotten out of the water, and you take a moment, heavy breathing. You're both battered and soaked and muddy. There's bits of rock and debris all over you.
How? I mean, that just the wall though. Like.
Yeah, you're not out of you're not out of the canyon. You're just not in the water anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So what? I'm like.
You're clinging to the side of a canyon in the dark with a 60-foot climb in front of you. But
Well,
you
you're
have a
good.
friend that can fly.
I fly up a little ways, find so first off, is there any place for me to get some stuff out of my pack? It's not like I can see right there.
So the top of the canyon is
That's-
you can. So when you look
Okay.
up, there is the belt of
So
El, the stars.
I say,
the
wait
moon.
here.
It's actually something I wanted to ask. This came while we were setting up camp, or
This came when you were sleeping, so we can
We were
discuss
sleep-
what you've lost.
exactly.
Because you've lost some things.
That's-
we can discuss that, but right now you're clinging to the side of the thing. So, I'm going to say that based on what just happened, most likely you don't have any of those rations that you had before. Those wouldn't have been stored in your body, on your body while you were sleeping.
Do I have anything that was in my backpack?
I don't even think you have your backpack.
That's when I'm sleeping. My armor's light. I do sleep in my armor,
Right.
but I'm pretty sure I would have taken like my sword belt off, my dart bandolier off, and my backpack.
Tell you what, sword belt, darts, and bandolier. Or I'm sorry, sword belt, bandolier, and backpack. I'm gonna say the backpack. And what you would? Do you have weapons that you carry?
Short sword, short bow.
Short sword, short bow, backpack.
Dagger,
So you've each
backpack.
got like 3 things. Like you've got like a sword belt.
That, and I was sleeping on my bedroll.
Right,
So,
that's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's do some luck checks. Okay, so yeah, grab a d20 because you guys have been so good at this. Okay, so I'm gonna have each of you roll 3 luck checks, and here's the thing: you roll lower than a 10, that thing's lost. You roll higher than a 10, you grabbed it as you were swept off the rocks. So the first thing we're gonna do is your weapons belt. So your swords or daggers. So let's roll a d20 and see if you. So remember, you want to roll high.
Well, my dagger's in my boot.
Then you didn't lose that. So your short swords and your short swords, right? So let's see, did you lose those?
I have a
Lost it.
I have a
Lost your
short
short
sword
bow.
and a short bow.
Okay. So this is for your short sword.
Gone. No pluses.
No pluses. This is just a
Gone.
straight luck check. Then let's check your bandolier of darts and your bow.
Got my darts.
You got your darts.
Got my
You've got your bow. Let's check your backpack. Did you grab your backpack as you were swept off the... Hey, you grabbed your backpack.
Grab mine.
Hey, you only lost your swords. So
Must
you
have
do,
stowed those together.
yeah, you do have your backpack, and if you were looking for a place that you could unload, you see that the glowing belt of L high in the sky. You can see that the lip of the ravine, it looks more flat up there, about 60 feet up. If you were to fly up, you could set stuff down.
So I want to fly up.
Okay.
Make sure that there's nothing around.
Okay.
I set my backpack down. I get my lantern out. Get a little oil in it. Light it.
Yep. And you take a look around. You're on like a flat, almost like a not a mesa, but a flat area where the elevation has leveled out. And while these are mountains on the map, what they really are is a ravine canyon river that runs through this area. If you were to stay on this, it looks like you could hike out of this area, and you're on the right side of the river now.
Yep.
You could hike out. You're not exactly sure where you are.
We'll just follow the river up till we
Yeah.
roughly find where we're...
Yep. But there are rocky outcroppings and whatnot up here if you needed to. It's not perfectly flat. There are places you could tie a rope off.
But basically that's what I want to do is light my lantern so that I can see. Take my rope.
Okay.
Fly down, hand him one end.
Okay.
Is this a climbable surface?
It is a climbable surface.
Because I might just attempt to climb
Okay.
up.
If you fall back in the river.
Right. You're going to hook up a rope?
This is a rough, rocky wall.
I have a rope.
You fly down. You left your backpack and stuff up top, so
Yep.
you had less weight. You fly down. You find a rocky piece of the wall that you could loop some of the rope around and tie a passable knot that will hold Avo. Now with a rope, considering that you've been kind of beat to hell, I'm still going to make you roll something to climb the rope. But you bring the rope down to Avo, you pass it off to him. So it's going to be advantage athletics for climbing with only a DC of 12.
As long as I'm not fumbling all over the
Well,
place.
I'm going to say the only thing that makes you fall off fully is a straight up nat 1. And that's if you on advantage roll
So
that.
on advantage, hey, I'm not. I'm still scared, man.
If you roll 2 nat 1s, you weren't meant to play this character.
Well, double 17.
I rolled 3 ones in a row.
On this
4.
roll.
actually,
23.
if you count the
Okay.
D4.
So, Avo, with a renewed sense of vigor, the fact that you made it out of that wall,
Woo, that was refreshing.
you start climbing. I think you both have that moment as you're climbing. And you're starting to feel like the heat come back into your muscles from the exercise, or the effort. You both remember that moment in the water of that internal warmth and the lemon and the ginger, and you're not sure what that was all about. But you make it up about halfway up the canyon wall, at which point, Theric, you take the rope, you reattach it, and then give me one more roll to get up to the top.
Advantage.
Advantage still, yeah. Yeah, you're good.
23. Okay.
And with that, after really looking at the stars and where the moon is, you're guessing that you spent probably a good 10 or 15 minutes in the water just getting tumbled along. But you collapse on the upper part of this rocky mesa. You can still hear the river, the flash flood. Actually, it passes eventually, and that kind of dies down. But the two of you are left breathing heavily, thoroughly dirty, missing some of your equipment, and in a strange land.
I'll bet you I can do a better dive off this cliff than you.
But the rest of that night passes in exhaustive sleep. But you wake up the next morning. I think you probably just curled up and used your backpacks as pillows and slept on the stone. But as the sun dawns on the next morning, you awake. How close to you both healed? I'm gonna say you both get a long rest, but you probably slept later than you normally would have. You were down to 3 hit points. What were you down to?
Same.
You're both down to 3 hit points. Yeah.
I took 7 points.
Yep.
I only took 5.
Well, I have a maximum of 10.
I have a maximum of 8. I have a 0 plus 0 for con.
That was very dangerous.
Indeed.
Well, you'd think we could have rolled better than a 1, 4, 5.
Right.
Oh my god, those were rolls from hell.
Indeed.
I can't believe I rolled 3 1s in a row on a d20.
That is pretty impressive. All right, so you find yourself, and I believe now we are on the morning of the 27th, just to make sure I'm keeping track of days. You find yourself muddy and...
Why'd you want to go see that grave anyway?
Ha, 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 ha.
Muddy and sore, though you are healed up from the damage you took. But you are still sore from the previous night's battering. You are on the right side of the river, and what will you do today?
Want to follow the river up and then get back on our journey?
At least we're on the right side of the river.
Right?
So, yeah, I guess we're headed in that direction.
Okay, so you're going to stick near the river, but on the top of the ravine now?
I mean, there is a little sword down here. Maybe that's where our weapons are.
Isn't that back on the other side of the river?
No, it's over the fork.
Oh.
But it's on the other side of the river now.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's on the other side of the river no matter which side of the river we were on.
So what are you doing for the day?
We're going to follow the river north.
Okay.
Try and get our bearings back to where we started yesterday so that we can continue down the path.
Okay.
No more X's for me.
No more X's for you. All right. You pick your way back up along the river. Go ahead and give me, and you can work together. It is a clear day today. There's no rain, no fog. It seems like a clear, pleasant enough day. You're hiking through mountains, but near a river, so you have at least some bearing. Give me
Are there trees?
small scrub, trees, brush, that sort of stuff. Nothing large this close to the river and in the mountains.
But trees?
Are you looking for something for like firewood, or are you looking for like a club?
I'm looking for, yes, a weapon.
Like a club? You can find
something to use as a staff or a club.
Yeah, I will say that with the natural resources around, you can source a staff or a club, whichever you'd prefer.
And I even have wood carving tools I can...
That were in your backpack?
Yes.
Good. Save those.
Yes.
Okay. Your choice, whether you wanted to go with a staff or a club. They're basically just pieces of wood of different length.
Right.
So whatever you'd prefer.
Yeah, I'll go with the staff.
Okay. So about as you're walking, you find a longer piece of scrub brush that is of the right consistency. Manage to snap it off, and then as you're walking, maybe taking your tools and smoothing it out, making it usable for staff. And what I'm going to do is have a general. This is going to be a survival roll over here in my role to see just how your day goes. You've got. I'm going to give you advantage though, because you are on the right side of the river, and all you're trying to do is walk from one part to the next. You're not looking for anything in particular. This is a little bit luck, but also survival.
Do it to it.
Okay. That's the best you've rolled all night.
It's not really saying much.
Not,
oh wait, no, you had 2 crits too.
Yeah. Theric has had a pretty wide swing both ways. All right, so but I will say about 6 hours of your day is spent picking your way back up to the north to a point where you find you've been watching the far side of the river. You've picked your way back down out of the mountains into a flatter area. You can see the swamp coming up on the far side of the river, and you realize you're about level with where you wanted to be. There are scrub and brush and small trees on this side of the river, and from where you're at now, you realize you're finally in the right spot when you find a small copse of trees that kind of jut out into the river, and in the shade of them, it looks like some small raft has been tied up. And is secured to the trees. It's not in the water. It's been pulled up onto the shore. But there is a small raft there.
Hey, we're in the right spot.
Any, possibilities of trail around this area?
Give me you're looking for a trail that leads, like the way where your map says?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me an investigation check.
13.
You do find not necessarily a trail, but you're looking at you cross-reference the map. You're like, okay, there's hills over there. There's like a dirty, sandy area over that direction, and then you can see if you follow this way. You think you have a general idea of where that trail heads to.
That way.
Let's go.
You start picking your way along, but you can see the area to your right. Is very rocky, sandy area. Some more reds and brown sands, and it looks very dry. Not necessarily desert-like, but you can see that it's just kind of a barren landscape that leads towards a body of water far in the distance, a few miles away. You can see a lake over there. You also notice you're hiking towards, for the first time, you're almost in a straight line. Hiking towards that cliff that you could see with the hawk feature that you recognized. And you realize that on your map, that is apparently a signifier that you're getting close to. When you get near the base of that, you're going to be close to what you're looking for.
Where we want to go.
You also eventually are starting to see... so you see like an alpine forest, Snow Peak Mountains to the north of you, but you're picking your way along, and eventually near the base of this peak, which is maybe about 100-foot rock face with a strange beaked curvature on the one side of it that you assume that whoever made the map labeled that as Hawk Rock. But you see a small forest of trees in front of you with some rock formations, and you know that you have reached as close as this map will bring you to your destination, which is apparently a cave in this region.
All right. Searching.
Do we want to search, or do we want to rest up?
It is late in the day. It took you quite a while to get here.
Yeah, let's camp, and we can look tomorrow.
Okay. Hawk Rock actually has a couple natural overhangs that'll allow you to camp and have a little bit of shelter. You do hear somewhere in the distance still that there are wolves about, but they seem further away than when you heard them the last time. I will, just to check and see how your night goes, have you make another survival check. Whoever would like to make it. This is just as the other night goes. We don't have to do a secret roll for this. What'd you get?
18.
Okay. You spend a night in far greater comfort, though I think that each of you has moments where you wake with a start from your previous night's adventure. But your night passes uneventfully. You have a small fire, you stay warm. Thankfully, you didn't lose all your food, otherwise you would have had to have hunted for it. But
one of us really needs to get survival, man.
Only if you plan on doing this kind of stuff all the time. But the next morning arrives. You feel a little bit less sore. You're more ready for the day. You get up. Avo, you get your staff out and kind of. I think there's probably a moment where you think about your short swords, but staff is going to have to work for right now. How does Theric feel about losing his short sword? Not as big of a deal.
I've got a bow.
Right. Okay. You have a day ahead of you. What would you like to do?
Search for the cave. Right past Hawk Rock.
Yeah, past Hawk Rock.
So you do see a small forest in front of you, a forested area. So and there's rocky outcroppings in there that you can look around for.
Looks
And
like
we're
the
gonna go in
area
there
that
and
we're
look.
headed to.
Okay. You move into the forested area and start looking around. I will ask for an investigation roll to see how long this takes you. So basically, you know you're in the right area. Every roll is going to be an hour spent. So I just want to see how long this takes you to find.
22. No, 21.
Theric, with almost no trouble, I think that when you get back into the forested area, you fly up and then just kind of zip between a couple large trees before you see a large rocky outcropping. That there is a boulder in front of the entrance, but Theric, from your vantage, you can easily see that there's a boulder covering an entrance to. You're not sure if it's a cave or whatnot, but you do find a location that you're looking for.
We just wanted the river part to be very suspenseful. That was what it was.
We're headed somewhere.
So
This was a test.
I point out the boulder, and it says, looks like there's a cave entrance right over there.
You both pick your way through the light forest. Now there is this large boulder outcropping, larger than most buildings even, bigger than a house, bigger than a barn, but in front of it, as you kind of circle around, when I say front, as you circle around, there is a large boulder that's separate, kind of sets out at an angle, and when you peek behind it, there is about an 8-foot high tunnel that looks like it descends stairs, natural stone stairs down into the earth. And you believe you have found what you were looking for.
This
We're
is the day
here.
after Madame Mabel.
This
Still.
is the day.
Or no, we rested again.
Yep, this is 2 days after Madame Mabel, so this is the 28th. This is the last day of the month of judgment. Sounds ominous, doesn't it?
Dun, 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 dun.
But there are a 5-foot wide, moss-covered stone steps that descend down into darkness below.
Are we going in? Is that what we came here for?
Yes, absolutely.
So I will pull out
Heading
my
in.
lantern,
Okay.
light it.
I'll lead the way.
Okay. All right. With staff in hand, I imagine.
Yes.
Okay. You start picking your way down the steps. So the steps descend about 30 feet into the earth. You immediately feel a drop in temperature as you leave the almost humid woodland that had surrounded the rocky outcropping. It becomes very dark, though the light from Theric's lantern casts strange shadows on the walls that dance and move as you descend into this area. And you get to the bottom of the steps into a 10-foot wide, about a 15-foot long room with looks like an exit or a hallway that leads to your left and to your right. And this does match up with the map that you found as well, it looks like. So as you get to the bottom of the stairs, and Theric, you're behind Avo, hovering, I imagine, so you can see over his shoulder. Your lantern is lighting this room. The room itself, there's a light mist that covers the floor, just like a little swirl, and you each can see your breath now, which is an unusual thing for you on Nova Sona.
It's that cold.
It is cold enough that you can see your breath. But you are at the bottom of the stairs. in a 10 by 15 foot room with a slick of. There's a little bit of moss on the walls. There's moisture that kind of drips from the ceiling.
I'm sorry, did you already say? Does this seem like a natural or man-made?
The entrance looked natural, and there were natural stairs that led down here, but this is clearly created by people.
Okay.
There are carved out walls, cobblestones.
Where are we going? Where are we at?
I was wondering if there was anything on the other side of the map.
That is the room that you seem to be in. That's what matches up.
This is Tempest. You're interested in the Tempest, right?
I mean, not jumping in it, if that's what you mean. I'm
You don't want
interested in
to
studying it.
jump down there.
So the two of you are standing on the bottom step, looking at the map.
Let's go to the Tempest room first. See if it's an actual room to the Tempest.
There's stuff off this map too.
Yep. So,
Sweet.
I wing by him and start making my way straight down the hall.
So Theric flies over Avo's shoulder and starts to head down the left hallway. Avo, what are you doing?
I'm going to follow, I guess. I was going to lead, but
Okay, you
If he's-
step down off that bottom step. Give me a dexterity saving throw. Avo, as you step on the floor,
it's so ridiculous.
as you step, I rolled a nat 1. As you step on the floor, so directly in front of the stairs, the first wide cobblestone that's off the stairs, you stepped on it, and spikes shot out of the stairs, out of the floor into your body.
Ouch.
Spikes.
Hey, that's what that... See, I thought that was some kind of reference to the outside.
Me too?
I thought it was
So-
like trees or the like the three mountains up here. Like,
You take 2 points of piercing
Okay.
damage as these about foot long iron spikes kind of into the bottom of your feet, and you kind of stagger around a little bit.
Mother Nature.
Did you stop, Theric, or do you keep going when you hear Avo scream out in pain?
Yeah, I stop and
Okay.
turn around.
Okay.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. I'm good. Ugh. As I free myself from impalement.
Well, the spikes came up and then went back down.
Okay.
So the block that you're standing on is still trapped.
Don't step there.
Why?
Bad
you
idea.
You say to Theric, who's hovering about 3 feet off the
Right.
floor, don't step there.
Well, I land. I'm not going to fly.
Are you landing in the room that he's in?
I mean, I might be in it. I might not. Let's see.
Well, I'm asking. Yeah, you tell me where you want to land.
I said I was going, but it depends on how far I got.
You would have made it
So-
into the hallway.
Well, if
but-
I'm in the hallway, I'll just stop then
Okay.
and land there.
So you
But-
land in the hallway. Avo, you're still standing in the 10 by 15 room on the first. To reference your map, you're standing on the square directly in front of the downward area where the stairs end.
So, the way these spikes came out of the ground, does it look like the rest of the room could be...
Give me an investigation check to look for traps. Okay.
17.
You're gonna get lots of spikes now.
Avo, you realize that there are a number of places that are trapped in the room. The arrows where you're standing, as well as the 2 T's on the ground, are where there are traps. So if you avoid those spaces, you believe you should be okay.
Okay, so avoid the corners, and I'll point and be
Want
on
me
the
to-
lookout,
want
because
me to
there's
disarm
probably...
'em?
If you want, or we can just avoid them. But let's be on the lookout for more.
Okay.
I don't need that again.
So you gingerly hop away from that spot, and when you step off of the pad that you were on, you hear, and then you believe that the trap has rearmed itself now that you're no longer standing on it.
All right.
All right, and then you were heading. If we assume that the top of the map, the direction you were headed, was the north. Does that make sense? That way we can agree on distant directions.
Sure.
We'll say that you're heading north. Okay. You head north along a 15-foot corridor. Again, everything in here is kind of chilly. There's a little bit of mist on the floor. The walls are slick with both moss and condensation, and you reach a T that heads off to the east and west. You believe with your lantern as you kind of look around, and it's eerily quiet inside of this place, other than the sound of Avo's footfalls, the fluttering of your wings. But you look around with your lantern, and you can see off to the west, it looks like it opens into a larger room. And you can verify that with your map as well.
No, that's ripped off.
Yeah, but there's some kind of something over there.
Do we want to go check out the room, or do you want to go to what says Tempest?
And to the right, it looks like it angles towards a room that does have a clue on it labeled Tempest.
I mean, the room's right here.
Might as well.
Make our way to the big room on the right.
So you hang a left and head west on the map, which takes you down about a 20-foot long, narrow corridor. Now, Theric, are you in front now with the lantern, or okay? So, Avo, you're following along behind.
I suppose.
Because Theric has got the lantern, and just like, let's go this way.
Right.
That room, that tunnel opens up into a very large room, roughly 20 feet by 25 feet. I'm sorry, 20 by 30. It's a large room with kind of a domed ceiling. It doesn't open up to any light like you've seen some of the dome ceilings in the Dawning Garden, but this is just a arched ceiling with very old carving architecture that creates those buttresses in the arms of the dome. In the center of the room, there is a raised dais. And there is a statue, a female statue in robes, tipped over off of the statue and missing an arm. That's what you see.
Go take a closer look at the statue.
Okay. Give me a religion check.
Nope.
21.
This is a statue of the goddess Rebellion, but she's missing an arm, and it looks like she was standing, holding her arm up like this, and it's been shattered off right about here, just below the shoulder. Looks like she was holding her arm above her head, and in her other hand, looks like she was holding a book.
Is the rest of the statue?
The rest of the statue is there and intact. It's been tipped over off of the dais.
Okay. But it's okay, and it's missing both arms, or just
the right arm.
Just the one that was raised.
Just the right arm that was raised.
And I don't see any other rubble around the area.
No, you don't. You check the area, and on that investigation, you search the room. You don't see anything of value in the room other than, or of interest. Just the statue with the missing arm.
And it was Rebellion.
Correct. The goddess Rebellion.
You want to stand her back up?
Kind of do, but I also kind of want to find her missing arm. I think it's kind of weird that it's not
later.
here. How big is the statue?
It's about a 6-foot statue. It weighs a couple 100 pounds easily.
I don't think I'm lifting this thing back up.
Between the two of you, you guys could stand it back up. I don't think you would want to deadlift it, but between the two of you, you can lever it back up.
We got a rope.
Does it even have a stable position to?
Oh yeah,
sit
it's a flat base.
Okay.
If you could get it back onto the dais, stood upright, it would stand upright. It looks like
Okay.
somebody pushed it over.
All right.
Okay, so you spend a few minutes of strenuous activity between the two of you, levering this statue back up, getting your shoulders underneath it, and eventually with a loud thump it centers itself on the dais, and you have restored the upright statue of Rebellion, though still missing the arm, inside of this room.
Are there any other doorways out of this room?
Only the way that you came.
No markings, no writing on the.
With your investigation check, you do see. I will say that the
did
dais
religion.
itself
I did
has.
I did
Oh, I'm
religion.
sorry. Nobody did an investigation. Go ahead and give me an investigation in this room. Whoever wants to look around. Yeah, you can both look around.
I got a 14.
Okay.
15.
Okay. The two of you spend a few minutes looking around after you've got the statue stood back up. You do see on the east and west walls that there are some prayers, basically general prayers and tenets of rebellion, the things that would be important to her, the things, the holy words that people would say in honor of her.
Okay, let's go back to where we came.
Yeah.
So you backtrack out of the room, leaving Rebellion standing there. You move along that hallway. Were you going to continue down the hallway, heading towards the room that you had called? You think that there's something about the Tempest in, or were you heading back into the room with traps in the stairway?
Well, we originally came this way to get to the Tempest writing, so let's head that.
So as you round the bend in the hallway, you see there's a little bit more of the mist along the floor, a little bit colder here, and you see.
We are cautiously making our way looking for traps.
Okay.
I mean, I am at least.
Okay. You do see fine raw iron bars that go floor to ceiling in this spot that stop you from proceeding down this hallway. The bars do go up into the ceiling, so it looks like they could be retracted, but you don't see a mechanism to do that.
Well, let's go back through the trap room.
Okay, yep.
Heading back to the trap room. Now you know where the traps are, so you have no problem avoiding those. But
I didn't have a problem to begin with.
as you make your way into you make your way across the room with the spikes on the floor, and this larger room that you're about to enter, I mentioned that there's moss on the walls. This has long tendrils of moss that hang down from the ceiling that you actually have to step through in order to make it into this room. They're just thick, wet tendrils of moss and plants, and it almost sounds like it's raining in this room. Like there's just like this drip in here.
I am going to use my staff.
Okay.
I'm going to be hitting these tendrils.
Okay. You notice two things based on your passive perceptions, and you're next to him or behind him, Theric?
I'm behind him now.
Okay. Two things you notice. Theric, you notice that your light doesn't go far enough into this room when Abo moves the pieces of vines out of the way, the moss. There's something preventing the light from traveling as far as it should. It goes slightly in, but not all the way in. You believe, and you remember in your time in the Feywild, you think this is magically stopping your light from going very far. Abo, as you use your staff to move the vines out of the way, you see that some of the vines slowly start to try to curl around the staff. Not enough that they could grab a living person, but they would slow your movement. You also notice, because you're in the front, and as you're doing that, there is a symbol on the floor. This room that you're about to move into has 5-foot wide floor panels, and the 5 foot in front of you has a symbol on it. It's writing in the common tongue that says the word tan. So as you stand there, you part the vines a little bit. The vines do slightly try to curl around, and you can see the entire ceiling in this is just hanging down vines. There's only about 5 foot of space between the bottoms of the vines and the floor.
Can I see any writing
I don't have a problem.
on the tiles next to it?
You can, actually. So, but you can only see about 10 feet into this room from where you're at. So you can see the first 6 squares from where you're standing. I'll tell you what they say, starting at the top. Okay, so it's starting at that one. It says sage, ruby, vermilion, gold, carmine.
Okay.
So as you take a moment to, you haven't stepped on any of these yet. You've just been you've been noticing that they say things on them. You've leaned out into the room slightly. You've looked around, and you're seeing.
So
these
if we step
words.
on this one with a C, and if there's one with like an I or TH.
I don't know about that. Oh, that's the symbol of grace. Below that, whatever word that
So the two of you pull out the map and start conferring on that.
It is coming.
Well, you know what? These things are. I'm below them, so I'll step onto the carmine square just to test the theory.
So you fly out into the room and land on the carmine one?
Why?
Because if I fly high, then I'm gonna touch the thing.
The moss, yeah.
The moss is only 5 feet. I'm 3'1".
Yeah, you could theoretically fly along inside of this room without the moss grabbing you because of the height difference.
Doesn't matter. You still have to come through, and I'm not just going to fly across the room and be like, good luck!
Well, you might be able to get a more of a layout of what the words say.
I mean, I can. Sure, I'll fly. At the same time, I don't want to, flying kind of seems like a cheap advantage, so I'm trying to...
it shouldn't count it as a cheap advantage. This is part of your character. Like, this is going to be...
Not only that, but I think these vines are something kind of dangerous, too, and they're hanging all over the damn place.
I know, but I'm under them. You're not. So I'll fly to the gold square, then and hover over the gold square.
Hover over the gold square?
Yep.
Okay. You hover... You mean in order to see?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, well, you pointed at a square, and I'll start telling you what they say. Hazel, pickle, scarlet, lemon, marigold, lazuli, cerulean, aqua, plum, mazarine, amber, chartreuse. Are you flipping me off?
No.
Fuck you for making me write all this.
No. I'm using my middle finger as a pointer finger.
Okay, alright.
This is a flipping you.
Lies. It's all lies.
Okay, so there is no I next to the goal. So there you go.
Yeah.
But I'll fly down to Missouri.
Mazarine.
Yeah.
Hold up. The red tiles or something. They're on the corner, on the edge of the map here. It says the red tiles.
Okay.
Are any of these...
Well, ruby. Sage is green. What about carmine?
Vermilion. I think vermilion... I don't know what carmine is, honestly. I think vermilion is a... reddish. Pinkish or purplish or... I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm not a jeweler. So I have no jewelry skills. But regardless,
See,
down here in the
So,
corner,
just
there
to
should
make
be
sure as
a...
well, you're hovering between
Yes.
below the level of the moss, but not on the floor.
Correct.
Okay. There is a half a foot, or like there's a not a 5 foot wide, but there's a half of. Can I see your thing for a second?
It's just the words. There's
Yeah,
no
it goes-
actual,
Just the words.
goes like
no
It goes like
actual
that,
colors.
Yes. Yep. And there's nothing carved on those.
Is what you're
And
saying.
then there's a tunnel in the middle of it that heads south. And a large tunnel on the far side.
Is there a symbol of grace on the wall?
No.
That's what that is. That this isn't on the floor either. This Sithriel, whatever the hell that means.
Okay, well, I can see most of the room now.
Okay,
so
yeah,
let's
you can
fill
see
in
the rest of the room. So let's see, starting over there, the one that you haven't filled in on that line, azure, lilac, sand, cardinal, ginger, and berry.
She had red hair.
Rose.
Next to amber.
Rose.
That's right.
Oh, it's
Maybe-
amber red too.
Well, that's the thing is, do we want to avoid the red ones? Or do we not want to avoid the red ones?
Well, I'm getting tired, so I fly back to the...
Because all this said is,
Okay.
this says the
Fly
red
back to land.
tiles and the rest of this ripped off. If that even has anything to do with this.
Treasure maps can be vague sometimes.
So-
we've all seen the Goonies.
I'm thinking,
Let's start small. I take a ball bearing and I throw it on the town in front of me. 10.
Okay. Your ball bearing kind of and just rolls around and nothing happens.
you know what? I'm gonna step on it.
On what?
Tan.
You step forward onto tan.
Yes.
There's a flash of light, a burst of flame.
This has been Gen XP. Thanks for listening. Catch you next week.